right, good morning everyone. My name is Christy Murchie. I work in the Office of Off-Campus Programs, International Studies, and we want to welcome you, both our office and our partners here in the library, to our second installment of our Study Abroad Spotlight. We have a unique journey, or a story of a journey while studying abroad, going to be presented by Huldah Omasa. Huldah actually traveled to Cypress with a program provider called Global Learning Semesters, and she will be giving you more highlights of her experience traveling beyond Cypress to several other locations. So would you join me in welcoming Huldah?
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, as Christy said, my name is Huldah Omasa, and I am a senior/junior. I'll be graduating this December. I am an international business, international relations, and reconciliation major. And I actually was very lucky. I think it was God's divine intervention for me to be able to go to this program, be able to get accepted to this program, because I was supposed to go to Bethel Business, study abroad in Europe, I think in Germany. But I was late applying one day. So I was like, well, all right, God, work it out. So I started looking around, and I came upon a global learning semesters, and they had a business program, and it was a global business program where I was able to travel to 5 countries, which were Cyprus, China, India, France, UK. So it was an incredible journey. And basically, global business semester is for intermediate or advanced business students, and it has a core curriculum of upper division courses focused on international business and global economic environment. And then the curriculum also provides the framework for the whole semester and for integrating co-curricular activities within the program itself. So the whole semester, you basically just take classes like you would a regular semester. So I had 5 classes. I had 15 credits, and some of them were international marketing, international economic integration, hardcore classes. And then I also had a chance to kind of petition some courses, because the courses that they were offering I already had taken. So I had to kind of, talk to the registrar's office here, and then also communicate with the registrar office in Cyprus to kind of figure out if those courses were going to fit with my degree. And then for the travel and itinerary for this program, it took us from, the financial districts of London to the chaos in New Delhi. And then from the skyscrapers of Shanghai to the historic heart of Paris. And as a business undergrad academic study abroad program, I believe this was the most unique and exciting program that I could have ever come across. And then, so in addition to the weekend excursions that is a part of the semester in Cyprus, during the semester there are 2 breaks from classes. There are 2 trips from classes. One is to Asia, China, and India, and then one is to Europe, France, and the UK. And during those educational trips, we visited leading companies in the United Kingdom, France, India, and China in order to get a first-hand look at the forces shaping global business today. And then we were able to hear from the inside, from those people, how investment, banking, management, consulting firms, business services, outsourcers, and manufacturers are adapting to the world of globalization. So if you're a student here and you're wondering why, if you haven't done a study abroad program yet, and you're wondering why you should do it, I have several reasons why you should do it. First, it's an experience of a lifetime. When are you ever going to get a chance after college to do something like this. And then second, it accelerates your understanding of globalization far beyond your peers and far beyond even older people who have graduated from college. You will get an experience firsthand of how globalization is impacting the old and the new business capitals of the world, especially in Asia and Europe. And then you definitely broaden your horizons. And then you definitely take coursework that integrates with your major, not just random classes. And then you have a week of free travel. And being stationed in Cypress, we'll see here in a second. Cypress connects 5 continents, so that's like a perfect spot to go. Because first, it's going to be cheaper to get to different places, and also you're going to have a lot of choices to pick from, from Middle East to Africa to Europe. They're all really close to Cyprus. All right, so let's have some fun. You guys have heard the boring stuff, so let's have it. All right, so St. Augustine said the world is a book, and those who do not travel read only a page, and that is so true. I mean, the traveling that I've done, this quote makes a lot of sense, because I have seen things I never thought I could have seen. I've seen things that I read in my history books in high school. So let's get started. So I went from Minnesota all the way to Cyprus. Right. It's a tiny little island in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. And then from there I went to India, and then China, and then back to Cyprus, and then to France in UK, and then back to Cyprus, and then back home. So Cyprus is, like I said, is a tiny little Mediterranean island. It's one of the second smallest island in the Mediterranean, and it's actually divided into 2 because of the civil war that has been going on forever. And in 1974, Turkey took half of the island, and Greece took the other half of the island, and there's literally a buffer zone that divides the island in half. As small as it is, it just amazed me how still they can't come to a resolution to this point. So in Cyprus, they call them Cypriots. So we have Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots. And this is where I stayed. Very nice apartments. And then this was the University of Nicosia. Beautiful. It was gorgeous. And then the amazing cities that I traveled to in Cyprus was Nicosia. That was the capital city. Paphos, Larnaca, and Limassol. And then Nicosia, we were right by the buffer zone, by the border, so this sign was just normal. We saw that every day. This also was another sign. And then from the university, if you stand at the highest point of the university, you can literally see the mountains, and you can see Turkey has definitely met their mark on the other side of the island. And that's the Turkish side. And then the first city is Limassol, and this is the main port of Cyprus. And here there's a lot of archaeological sites. And the bottom here is one of the resorts that we stayed in, and it was just beautiful. And then this is one of the castles that was built, I forgot, but a very, very long time ago. And it overlooks a very, the vineyard, the valley, because Limassol is also known for the beer and the wine industry. And then this is Larnaca, the main airport, and that also has that's where the tomb of St. Lazarus, the second tomb of St. Lazarus, is located. And this is the church where the tomb is built on top of, and that was this was the tomb itself. And then Paphos is definitely a touristic area destination, and it's also the birthplace of Aphrodite. And those rocks right there, that's where the myth said she came out of the water and all that good stuff. And then for my first trip was to Asia, and that was to China and India. And then those are my tickets. And then so when I was asked what was the most luxurious airport in the world, and it was definitely Dubai. Even I couldn't even read the arriving and departing, I guess, monitors, because they were all in Arabic, I think. And then I was in Terminal 3, and as you can tell, it's just gorgeous. Yeah, that is an airport right there. I mean, wow. Looks like a resort. And then this is Starbucks, and I thought that was kind of cool. And then this is the airport, and then McDonald's, and then they have something, instead of a Big Mac, they have what they call a Mac Arabia, and it was actually quite tasty. I had 2 of them. And then this was still in the Dubai airport, and they have one of the most luxurious hotels and biggest hotel in an airport. And that's in the plane, and I just had to pretend like I was on the phone or in the booth because it kind of looked cool. And then I had the pleasure, I was so lucky because I asked one of the pilots if they could take a picture of the palm, and he actually did. So that is the palm when we were taking off. And then finally we get to India, and it's completely a whole different world. And then we visited 3 cities, Mumbai, New Delhi, and Agra. And Mumbai is known as the financial capital of India, home to many industries and one of the most important and fast-growing global cities. And that's where we went to a company called Bain Capital, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then we also went to New Delhi, where we visited another company, ValueServe. And then, of course, Agra, the Taj Mahal. We had to go see the Taj Mahal. So Bain Capital is basically a private asset management firm. It manages over $65 billion in assets. And this gentleman here actually went to Harvard. And at first when I saw him, I was like, oh, okay, highly educated, all of that. But then when we started talking, he didn't have an accent at all. It was really cool. And I'm trying to look all businessy. And then at the Mumbai open market, it reminded me of back home, because I'm from Kenya. So when I go back home, it's like everything is open market, and it's kind of cool. And then men washing clothes. Wow, that was a sight to see. That man right there, that is his job day in. He rents that spot, and that's what he does. So that was. And then we went to the Amichad Jain Temple, and going here definitely showed me that these people are dedicated to their religion. And I thought I was dedicated. I mean, these people come here, some of them will spend the whole day there worshiping their many gods that they have there. And I had some capris on, and I couldn't go in there with capris, so I had to kind of come up with my own little style, and I think it worked. And then this little girl just touched my heart. She was there, and she had her little God there, and she was doing her thing, and I was like, okay, well, do I do my devotions every day? Am I this dedicated to my religion? And then Gandhi's house. This was definitely a site visit to remember. This is inside his house. Yeah. And then also inside the house there was a letter letters to Hitler and President Roosevelt. This one, the one that I have up, is to Hitler, and I was just amazed that they're still there and still intact. So.
What does the letter say?
What does the letter say? Well, if you would like to come read it later after the show, because I have a long slideshow, so you're definitely welcome to come read it. I have a lot of them. All right, gateway to India. And then last of Mumbai, we had to go to Hotel Broadway. And this is a steamer, and I thought it was kind of cool because it's shaped in like an old car kind of thing. So. And then New Delhi. We went to a business site visit to EvalueServe. It's a global business partner that provides a range of customer research from, let's say if a company wants to find out if it wants to enter into India or China market, EvalueServe helps them go research that market and find out what it needs to succeed in that market. And actually, through that, I actually got some network, and I talked to one of the executives, and they're interested in opening an office in Kenya. And I was like, hey, do you guys need some interns? And he was like, well, when you graduate, give me a call, and we'll go from there. So hopefully that will work out. And then this is the president's residence. I was surprised it wasn't as guarded as I thought it would be. And this is the Parliament. And then this is one of the world's heritage sites. It is considered one of the tallest brick straight building in the world. And I just thought that was funny. And then the last of New Delhi. Keep the environment clean, leave no footprints, take memories. That's what I did. I tried. All right, Agra, the road to the Taj Mahal. We stayed at the Maharaja Motel. It's kind of interesting. And then this was on our way to the Taj Mahal. Like, they advertised it every second. I mean, you looked all over the place. It was all about the Taj Mahal. And then we entered through the east gate. There are 4 gates, the south, the north, the east, and the west. And this was my team. And then just a little bit about the Taj Mahal. Before I went on this trip, I thought it was a temple, but I found out that it was a tomb for a king who loved his wife so much that when she was dying, she asked him to build her a monument that showed his love for her, and that's what he did. And before his sons fought over his throne and overthrew him, he wanted to build a black marble, same thing on the other side of the river, but that never happened. And I'm just thinking how great that would have been if there was a black marble right across from the Taj Mahal. And there it is. And everybody has to take this picture when you go to the Taj Mahal. You just have to take that picture.
You could go into modeling if you decided not to go into business.
Oh, thank you. And then to Hong Kong. Definitely coming from India and transitioning into Hong Kong was completely a whole different world once again. And we went to Deutsche Bank. It's one of the biggest banks in Europe and actually the rest of the world. It's emerging here in the U.S., but it's definitely big in Europe and in Asia. And then in Hong Kong, we went to Victoria Peak, and this is where you use I believe, a box cart, and you go up this steep hill, and by the time you reach up, you can literally see the whole skyline of Hong Kong, and it was just amazing. That day was a little bit foggy, but that's the skyline. It was great. And then we also went to the Tianpan Buddha in the monastery. That was one of the biggest Buddhas in China. Well, in Hong Kong. Yeah, having a little Buddha. And then we also went to Hong Kong Times Square. They have just like the New York Times Square, they have something similar to that. And it was during Halloween, they had some really cool like furniture kind of stuff going on. Yeah. And then we had to go to Martin Toilets. I saw this on the Food Channel Network, and we just had to go there because it's literally based on toilets. But they serve it, even the food is served in toilet looking. So it was really nice. The food was good. And then from Hong Kong, we headed to China, two great cities once again, Shanghai and then Beijing. And Shanghai, we visited the Shanmoi Mei Beverage and Food Company. And in Beijing, it was all about just tourism because we were there for just a few days. And then so Shanghai, we went to Yuan Garden, one of the most famous gardens in Shanghai. And then Shanghai, you could definitely see that it's becoming modernized, but they are still trying to preserve their Asian, especially culture, especially architecture. And then we went to the Temple of Heaven. And then the Tiananmen Square. And then also from there, the Forbidden City. And then Beijing, the Great Wall of China, once again. It's known as the seventh, wonder of the world, longest cemetery on earth because a lot of people, 1 million people died building that. And then also, as you can remember, 2008, Beijing, Summer Olympics were held in Beijing, so I thought I'd take that picture. Climbing the wall. It was kind of interesting because in China, me being a woman, and especially a woman of color and tall, everybody was really curious and wanted to touch my skin, wanted to touch my hair. I had fun. And then this is the last, right before the sunset, picture I took it, the Great Wall. And then Paris, we went to Bloomberg. It is an information service news and media company for businesses and financial professionals. It basically provides what's happening in the business world. And then in Paris, we visited the Louvre Museum, the Eiffel Tower, Notre Dame, the Arc, and also the famous Champs. I can never say the last name. Champs.
You're good.
That. And then I was so excited to go to the Louvre and see the Mona Lisa. I got there and it was this small. I was not happy. I've always thought that it was just this huge painting, but that's how small it is, and it was behind a glass cage. But I was still glad that I was able to see it. And that's the famous pyramid. And then also the winged victory of Cypress. I just know it as the winged victory of Nike. And then Michelangelo's Rebellious Slave and the Dying Slave is definitely a sight to see. And then the Arc definitely is on the famous street, is at the end of the famous street that I can never say. And then definitely the Eiffel Tower. In Champs Alley, Thank you. It's one of the most famous avenues probably in the world. You can find hotels, restaurants, literally anything you can think of you can find on that street, especially fashion boutiques and stores. I went in there to Louis Vuitton and I was looking at a purse. It was cute, it was small, it was pink, and it was like 12,000 euros. And I was like, I do not belong in here yet. And then summary. I went to 5 countries, 12 cities, 15 checkpoints, and actually I got a quick story about one of the checkpoints. I was in India when I first got to India, and I have a Kenyan passport, so I had to get 5 visas. And when I got to India, they let the rest of my group go, and they took me to this white room, and they started questioning me. They had a series of questions, and then they got to the security questions, and they were like, so are you affiliated with any terroristic groups, like the Taliban and Al-Qaeda? And at that point, I don't know what I was thinking. I started just laughing, like, are you kidding me, you know? What do I look like? One of them kind of got mad, and I was like, I apologize, I did not mean that. I just don't understand why you asked me that. But we sorted that out, and I was able to get away in 45 minutes. So 15 plays, 29,500 miles, 7 business sites, and 1 amazing study abroad. That's it. Thank you so much.
Does anybody have any questions for Huldah?
Oh yeah, any questions?
What did you like most about your trip?
What did I like most about my trip? Every other week we were flying somewhere new. You know, that does not happen often. So that's what I liked the most about my trip. I was going somewhere new, like every other week. So.
You know, about what you saw or the history of things you saw?
Definitely the Taj Mahal. When I got there and actually touched it, I was like, oh my goodness, oh, the Taj Mahal. I read about this in middle school. Wow, it actually exists. So.
What's your advice for someone going? Well, how should we prepare?
What's my advice? If you have a chance to do it, go for it. This, I think, was the hardest thing I had to do in college because it took me a whole year to plan this trip, especially trying to acquire 5 visas for those countries. It was really hard because if you missed one little thing, then it set you back a month, 2 months. God knew what. But I would definitely advise you that if you have a chance, go see the world. I mean, the world is bigger than Bethel, Minnesota, the U.S. It's definitely something that you want to do. Because a lot of people who I talk to that I tell them about my trip, and they're like, "Wow, I wish I could have done that." And if you have a chance to do it, do it.
As you think about your career after Bethel, what's the most significant way in which your horizons have been broadened?
Definitely the networking that I did. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm interested in value serving, seeing what they have to offer in Africa. I'm interested in companies who are venturing into Africa because Africa is the new emerging market right now. And also I visited a lot of U.S. embassies, and I got interested in foreign services, like working in an embassy as an ambassador or a diplomat or something like that. But that's in the future, so
Are there language barriers?
Were there language in China, especially in Shanghai? We definitely had to have somebody write things down in Mandarin for us to get around. But in India, we didn't have a lot of problems with Chinese.
Then how many languages do you speak?
Do I speak? I speak, let's see here, fluently 3, but I can kind of understand 4 languages.
Were you surprised by any business practice that you learned about?
Yes. When we were in Beijing, Hong Kong at Deutsche Bank, you are not supposed to take a drink or take anything to eat until the person who is hosting you has taken something to drink. And all of us, just kind of, we were caught off guard when our advisor was like, you guys are not supposed to do that. But then they kind of explained to us later on that is something that you don't do in China.
Have you tried to initiate something to bring more students to
To bring students to Bethel or to get students to go out?
both?
Both. That's what the International Study Abroad Office we're trying to do. Things like this.
From Kenya.
From Kenya? We actually do have a program, Daystar. We partner with Daystar where we have exchange students who come here. We also have exchange students going out to Daystar in Kenya. But we definitely love to have more students from really anywhere.